Okay, I'm back with this. I'm back with this last video. I have to clean it up. I went back and I was not wanting this. I did not really look forward to doing. I just looked at the videos I made. I'm married. I'm sleeping with the married man. I looked at all four of them. I put it off as long as I could, and then I decided, okay, I was really struggling, and I really need to clean up what I was needing to say, okay? I know I was trying to be very selective in what the details I was sharing and not sharing, and trying to get it all together so it would be delivered and understood. And I realized that some people are not going to understand, that some people are very detailed, step by step, need to hear. Let me give you an example. I tell this in another video. I went to my granddaughter's school. We had to understand it. I was going to pick her up after school. She ended up on the bus. I ended up at the school waiting for her, and she's in another part of town. And I'm thinking, I told her I was coming to pick her up. She said, okay, but I didn't know you were coming to the school. I thought you were going to pick me up from my bus stop. Okay, so some people, if they don't get it in detail, they don't understand it. My mother was very thorough, and that's, my daughter sometimes says, okay, get to the point. She knows how I am. So that's one of my, you can consider it a defect or a perfection. I don't know, just trying to be very detailed. And it makes it too long, drawn out, and sometimes people don't have the patience to listen and they don't understand what I'm saying. So I apologize if that is what you perceived and that is what you took away from the other videos. I'm sleeping with a married man. In a nutshell, the married man is my ex-husband. Spiritually, in the spirit realm, evidently, we are still married, okay? In my heart, he is still my husband. I could not separate, I have not been successful in transitioning from husband and wife mode to just best friends. He never wanted the divorce. He did not want it. He always stated, you are my wife, not in any type of obsessive way, but I am your husband is still how he feels in his heart. Like, if I need anything, he will try to provide still, even if I don't ask for it. It's, yeah, that type of relationship. So what you need to do is pray for me, okay? Because, let me give you some advice. I know it sounds strange. How you gonna give somebody some advice when you're in a situation like that? But I do have some things to share, and I believe it's going to help someone, thus this video. Love, and this is to anyone thinking about marriage, newly married, or just struggling in their marriage. Love is not the reason to get married. Let me say that again. Love, you do need love. But love alone, let me put it that way. Love alone is not the reason to get married. It can keep it together. If it was a bad situation, a bad marriage, it can keep it. Even if it's a bad marriage, love can keep it together. But you need other things. You need to be unified. You need to have something that you are both living for. Some people have children, and after the children are grown, they're living to raise their children, provide for their children, have a happy home, blah, 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 blah. After the children are grown, the marriage falls apart because that was what unified them. You have to have agreements. You cannot walk together. People say we can agree to disagree. If that's how you feel, you will be disagreed. That's all. You agreeing, yeah, that we don't agree. And it's hard if someone's saying we should go left and the other person's saying we should go right. Which way are you going to go? You can't go, well, maybe you can go both directions, but not at the same time. So you have to say, okay, we're going to go right here, and then down the road, we're going to make a left. You have to figure that out. So counseling is my suggestion. Being on one accord, being equally yoked. I have family members, and I am a family member that has married unequally yoked. Not necessarily meaning Christian versus non-Christian. It could be, both could be Christian. One Christian believes this way, one Christian believes that way. Christians get divorced. Christian versus non-Christian marriages get divorced. People who are both non-Christian, those type of marriages get divorced. Oh, I look a little rough. My 2 pieces of advice. Love is not the only reason. Our love alone will not sustain a marriage, because you have so many things that come into play. Let me tell you the 5 things that are very important. But the second thing is you have to be unified. So you have to have more than love, and you have to have unity. That means it's you against the world. And speaking of you against the world, I was looking at David and Tamla Mann's last video about their cooking. Honey, y'all cracked me up. David in the kitchen and Tamla just, oh my goodness. They're so beautiful to me. They are so beautiful. Such a beautiful couple. But yeah, just hilarious in that kitchen. Watch the last episode where it was a disaster in the kitchen. And then with Tony Gaskins. Tony, you said something. He talked about in one of his last videos that I discussed in a previous video of mine. He was speaking about relationships. And he has this way that he speaks. His dialect is so funny sometimes. But he was talking about how he and his wife pray, but they don't pray together. They've been married for maybe 16, 17 years, something like that. And they pray separately. They've only prayed probably about 2 times together. And he said exactly what I have done before. In hopes of praying with my spouse, I've prayed before, and I did exactly what he was saying, and it probably reached the ceiling and fell back to the floor, because in my prayer I was trying to speak to my husband instead of just to God. And so it's so true what he said. I never would have thought to say that, I don't think. But so back to this video. 5 things that, from experience, one of my friends talked about it before I really understood it. She was thinking about a mate, and she said they have to have a 5-star criteria. But when I thought about it, I was like, yes. When I lived it, I could basically put it in those same words. Spirituality is very important. Your religion is very important. It's hard for people who are 2 different religions to get along. As the best as they could if they were the same religion. It's hard for people who have different ideas about what family is supposed to mean, especially when you're trying to combine 2 different people and their families, and you have to see other family members. It's just not a selfish thing, marriage. It involves, especially when it involves children, it involves kinfolk. And even if you don't have children together, you're still going to be around other people in their family. They're going to be around other people in your family at some point. So you have to, not just for the sake of being around other people, but just for how you're going to deal with situations on both sides of the family. Because all people have the same needs. We all have to eat, sleep. We all need love, attention, quality time with each other, blah, 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 blah. So at some point, you have to have these things worked out. You have to know how you are going to function with money to make your household thrive and survive through tough times and prosperous times. You have to, so spiritually, family-wise, financially, spiritually, and religious-wise, and sexually, that's very important. When you have different views and desires sexually, that's very important. And then the social life. So maybe there are 6 to 7 things that really need to be taken into consideration. And so that's my advice, to take those things into consideration. And don't waste your time. Even if you love someone, don't think that you're going to go down the same path and not do anything differently and it's going to come out different. You're just wasting your time. So I have to figure that out. We have to figure that out. That's in a nutshell. my advice. And